Good morning. It is finally time. We are going to do the late May cottage garden tour today. I've got a stunning day today, all these gorgeous blue skies. It is actually quite early in the morning still, but I thought we'd have a little kind of wander around the garden together. There is so much newness, so many changes, and so I thought it would just be really lovely to have an early morning stroll. I think what we might do for this video is kind of just concentrate in the sort of back cottage garden area here and maybe a little bit down the side. I won't do the full cottage garden tour, otherwise we will be here for many hours. Already, I suspect, given the amount of newness, this video might be a little bit too long. I will try my best to kind of keep it quite succinct. So make sure you grab a cup of tea or a coffee and let's get all cozy. And we're going to have a little wander around the garden together. And I just really want to show you all the changes, all the newness. There's a few new plants, a few kind of little structural things that have changed. Some plants have been removed. What else? Oh my goodness, I have had quite the triumph in the garden. I cannot wait to show you that. And we are, as I said, we're late May now. So where I am, I'm located in Queensland in Australia, which means I'm actually right at the end of autumn. So I'm just about to head into winter now, but I'm in a subtropical sort of planting climate zone. And so what I wanted to say was at the moment, so it is very much late autumn for us. So our daytime temperatures, I think today is predicted to be around 23 degrees Celsius. And I think tonight we're getting down to about 13 degrees Celsius. And I think if you are in the US at the moment, that'll be around roughly about 75 Fahrenheit daytime temperatures and around about 55 Fahrenheit for nighttime temperatures. So it's very mild, sort of my climate. We will get colder weather as we move into winter. We'll sort of get down to almost 6 degrees at nighttime, Celsius that is, and daytime temperatures, we could have a really beautiful sunny day just like this and we could have a top of like 16 degrees Celsius. But for me in my area, that would be a very, very cold day indeed. So the other thing I kind of want to show you today was just some of the deciduous trees that I have, particularly the crepe myrtles. They're getting their autumn colors now. They're starting to drop their leaves. And so I kind of just want to show you those things. So without further ado, let's have a little wander around. Actually, we might start just around this other side here, and I'll show you the red crepe myrtle because she has got all of her autumn color. So you might start over there. You can hear all the birds this morning. As I said, it is quite early, so you can see here the sun's, I'm on a hill, so the sun's sort of just coming up now overhead and it'll slowly creep along this way. So let's head over there and I will show you the crepe myrtle. Okay, so I've sort of just come into this little corner of the garden here and hopefully you can see her. It is a little bit backlit unfortunately, but you can see these gorgeous red and sort of gold leaves. I will get a bit closer in the hope that the light improves. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Look at all of this color starting. I will show you from the other side as well. But oh, it makes me so happy. I don't have a lot of deciduous trees. I'm very lucky that I have, the majority of my plants here are evergreen. So throughout winter, I don't get snow or anything. Everything will stay fairly green. I get still flowers and things throughout winter, but I have intentionally planted a few deciduous trees just so that I kind of get that seasonality in the garden, and I get to watch the beautiful colours change on a few of my plants. So you can kind of see down here, colours are changing, and she's already started to lose some of her leaves. So it'll only be maybe another month or so, I would say, and she will go completely sort of red and gold, and all of her leaves will drop. And then once that happens, as we sort of get close to sort of around midwinter, she gets a massive prune. So for the red crepe myrtle, I basically take her all the way down to like here, and then through spring she puts on all of this growth every single spring and comes out just like this. Oh, I love it. So I can see this red crepe myrtle from my sitting room, and just all of those autumn colours, so pretty. Alright, I didn't get very far. I just wanted to show you these stripy whites. Look at the little babies that it's throwing out. So you can literally just cut those off and then propagate them. So you can you buy one of these and you never have to buy another one. They sort of self-propagate very easily, actually. Very easy to do. But that's what the little babies, or I think they call them pups, look like. And you just cut them off the running here and plant them in the ground or in pots, wherever you'd like. And they grow into these really pretty sort of white and green strappy grasses. But add a bit of colour. I think the white just adds that bit of texture and colour to the garden. You can see I've got them planted here where there's a lot of greenery, so it just sort of adds that depth of colour. So we'll sort of head back over to this little rock garden area. A little mini rose there. It did actually flower. It's very new. It's only been planted for maybe 3 weeks now. So it's a little bit distressed at being taken out of its pot and placed in the ground. But it did flower a little bit, and I've just got some supports on it there to give it a little bit of structure while it roots in there. Another little mini rose bush, and this one is doing incredibly well. Look at all of the buds there. And I've got little pink blooms starting to come out. So in the next couple of days, that's going to look gorgeous. You will all remember these ground cover roses. We've got the pink and the popcorn colour. We planted them together a couple of months ago now, and they are just loving life here. They've really spread all the way out. I do have weeding to do, but weeding in the garden is never done, let me tell you. And I've got this one here has self-seeded in quite the unusual spot. So I'm just leaving it there and we shall see how it goes. I've also just got a little star cluster pantis here. See, the bees are starting to head out and forage, and that is a very new planting. It's that sort of light purple colour star cluster, so it's sort of stopped flowering now because of being replanted, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll really bush out here and it'll hide the base of this rose plant and kind of just give it a really beautiful structure here. Gosh, this is just looking incredible at this time of year. I will just say, like normal when I'm doing the garden tours, I won't mention all of the names of plants. What I will do is pop them on screen, probably just down here. I'm aware that I have an accent, and that it's probably easier for me to pop the names of the plants on screen. That way, if you're interested in them, you'd like to look them up for your own gardens, it's there, you've got it all written down there, the correct spelling and all of that. So I think that just makes it a little bit easier. But like, this is completely self-seeded. It's the funniest story. I actually bought one of these plants from the garden centre years ago now, and I really struggled to get it to grow. I popped it in the ground and it didn't like it there, so I took it out and I popped it in a pot, and then this pot literally moved like 4 different places around the garden, and then it finally kind of, I can't even remember which plant it was now. I think it's the one, there's one over that way, I'll show you in a moment. I think that's the one. I ended up planting it there. And then they have literally just self-seeded throughout the garden. So this one here is completely self-seeded. When I tell you the colour of this, if I step sort of way back, can you just see? So that's another one here that's also self-seeded. So both of these are self-seeded. So you've got your roses here, you've got jasmine on this little trellis here, but then you've got these two. They are, I can't even think of the names now. It's like a Bernina or something like that. Again, I'll pop it on the screen, but look at this colour. I'll give you a close-up. The leaves are so variegated, and throughout the year, the colour kind of changes. So at the moment, because I'm in colder temperatures, the sort of whites and the pinks are really vibrant. And as I go into like warmer temperatures, that will kind of change and the greens become a little bit more vibrant. But they just add a really ornamental kind of feature to the garden. And as I said, I mean, you can see this little fella down here is completely self-seeded. It's just sort of started up. I have also had success with propagating just from cuttings of these, which I might show you. I might give you a little update in a video next week. You'll know I've actually been propagating, like self-propagating, a number of plants now as kind of some different experiments, like gardening experiments. So I might give you an update on that next week. But yeah, I've had great success with propagating these and like popping them into pots and gifting them to other people. They are actually quite expensive at the garden centre. So, but I'll give you a little close-up of the leaves, because that is really the showstopper with these. They don't flower, but have a look at those leaves. So you can see you get that sort of like pink and white and green, and then the variegation, there's green in there, there's almost like a darker sort of burgundy in several of the leaves. They're truly a spectacular plant. It's quite a sort of soft, dainty kind of leaf, but they're thriving in my sort of subtropical garden. I do get hot temperatures in summer. You know, we almost get 35 degrees Celsius here, so it gets really hot, and they're doing so well. In quite a awkward spot here on this little rock garden area, but that colour is just incredible. You can see here, that's another one that's self-seeding. I mean, you all know, I do let a lot of the plants that self-seed, I kind of just let them go. I think I have a cottage style garden, so sometimes with the self-seeding, I think it adds like a touch of kind of whimsy and just that really wild and wonderful vibe to the garden. The colour of this at this time of year is looking incredible. You'll know a few weeks ago this actually got a very hard prune back, and look how well it has just bounced back. Look at that colour. And that's kind of what I mean about what I was saying earlier, that for me, this is autumn. Like this is my autumn time, and my temperatures are pretty much the same as I know I know people in the UK at the moment, and their spring temperatures are pretty much the same as my autumn temperatures. So I'm very lucky that I have pretty much a growing season that goes all year round, and I get colour in my garden all year round. That's not to say I wouldn't love some snow on occasion. I think that would be incredible. But yeah, this colour, beautiful. The mini roses here, I have to say, it's not been planned, but my mini roses throughout the garden almost kind of go in a weird succession. I'll sort of have, 2 or 3 that are really prolific and flowering, and then they'll kind of go, a bit dormant. And then I'll have another 2 or 3 in the garden, sprout up with their beautiful blooms. It's worked out so well and not intentional at all. I mean, you can see just over here at the back, if I zoom in, that is the pink ground cover rose there. Look at all of those blooms to do. But we've got these really pretty, you can see there's still the morning dew on a number of the plants at the moment. We've got this one here starting to open up. This is also starting to flower now. Such pretty little delicate blooms. And you can see on this side there's a number starting to open up. And then we've got all new buds starting to come through. I don't think I've been up this little pathway recently, so maybe we'll head up here. The sun is just starting, it's just come out on the beehive here. So if you are new to my channel, this is an adopted Australian native beehive. So I don't get honey or anything from it, but it just lives in the garden, and the little bees there are stingless. They're native bees, and they kind of just pollinate all the flowers, and quite frankly, they're just delightful, and they're really charming to watch. They're very cute. I'll give you a close-up in a moment, but oh gosh, I'm blocking the sun there. This is looking spectacular, particularly considering that all of this is self-seeded, all this coleus. I mean, it's almost a weed at this point in my garden with the amount that it grows. I just cannot keep on top of it. And again, it just self-seeds, and I sort of just let it go. It's a little bit wild and wonderful. But they love this cooler sort of climates at the moment, so they're adding a nice pop of colour there. And so I'll just get a little bit close on the beehive. It is early morning for them, and so you can see there's quite a lot of activity at the entrance to the hive. You can see them going in and out there. I don't know if you can make out some of the bees as they're coming back, the pollen on their legs. They've got sort of the 2 yellow little sacs on either leg. That's them bringing pollen back to the hive. Gosh, they're so fun to watch. So industrious. And particularly this time of year with the shorter days, they're very active early in the morning, obviously, to try and get, to make the most of the sunlight hours. Once the sun sort of leaves the entrance of this hive here, they do kind of just go in for the day and kind of bed down. So I've just come up the top here. You can see I've got all those stripy whites in there. And this is probably a view you don't see very often. It's actually really pretty. So stripy whites are doing really well. And recently just planted this star cluster panthus here, and it is loving life in this space. Look at those flowers. Can you see it's got like the little purple outline and then the whiter center? It's very pretty. This one here is also new. Look at this bud. I've never had anything like this in my garden before. I'll put the name on screen. I cannot remember the name of it now. But it's just so different. There's 3 of them on here. So I'm going to be very curious to see what they look like when they flower. This is the wisteria. She's doing very well. I have to say, a part of me is slightly concerned about this arch. It's sort of an iron arch, and I don't know if I thought about it. I don't know if I thought it all the way through when I popped the wisteria on here. So I am kind of considering getting a wooden arch to kind of support it and go over, just so that, particularly while the wisteria is still so young, I'm conscious that wisteria does get quite heavy as it matures and flowers and things. So I just really want to make sure that the arch is going to be supportive enough for the wisteria as it grows over the years. So I definitely think that's something that I will need to think about in the coming months. Let me know in the comments, do you have a wisteria? What do you have it growing on? Do you have it sort of growing on like a wooden kind of archway or an arbor? Or let me know your thoughts. But she's looking very happy. Still no flowers this year, but I am hopeful for in the next few years that we might get some blooms. This is the ginger and turmeric that we planted together, I think August last year. So you can kind of see that the leaves are dying off now, which means they will be ready to harvest very soon. I'd say maybe towards end of June, July, the ginger and turmeric will be ready to be pulled out. We'll do that together. Water features still quiet at this time of the morning. And so just to show you, that is the red crepe myrtle that I was showing you before with all the beautiful autumn colour. And this one here, I'm pretty sure that is the original plant that I got from the garden centre, and then it eventually ended up liking this position, so it's stayed there. And as you can see, it's gotten quite large, and you can see this one actually gets a bit more sun than the other two. It's actually quite far in the garden there. I don't know if you can sort of tell, it doesn't have as much of the white and the lighter pink. It's definitely got a lot more of the burgundy and green throughout it, just because of the difference in this sunlight exposure. But again, like when you see it like this with like all the greenery and then this gorgeous pop of like this ornamental color, yeah, it works so well. And as I mean, they don't flower, but you don't need flowers when you have this kind of foliage. The seedless mandarin tree is doing well. Gosh, the sunlight is not great at this angle, but it is doing really well. It had a hard prune, and you can see here all the new growth is starting to come out. Similar here with the lemon. So it had a massive hard prune, and you can see all of this here is the new growth. And you'll know, a few weeks back we actually planted some cottage garden seeds together. And so in this area, and so all of this here, I'm not sure if they're going to be cottage garden flowers or if they are weeds. So I'm just leaving them there because I don't want to pull out any flowers accidentally. So we'll give it a couple of weeks and we will see. The two navel orange trees are also looking really great at this time of year. We've got lots of new growth on them. You'll know I had a little bit of trouble with the irrigation in this location. So some of the Hawaiian blue eyes kind of suffered. So there's been a few little additional or replacement ones popped in there just to fill out this space. Some oranges there. And you can see these are the sunjewels. They're still asleep because they are in shade. This mini rose has pretty much just finished flowering, but it is looking spectacular, so healthy. I've still got one bloom here coming out. And there are a few little buds starting again, which is nice. There's a peach tree in the back. And this is new. Gosh, the name of these escaped me. Again, I will pop it on screen. But you can see they've just starting to flower. If I shift, oh, maybe that's a little bit better. Star Cluster Panthers, the tricolour in there, looking gorgeous. The reds and the pinks, purple in there, white. All of these ferns are self-seeded. I've just let them go there. Now we've come to the cottage sort of garden, kitchen garden area, and I'm very, very pleased to say all of the beetroots have basically survived, and all of the brown onions that we planted together a few weeks back have all done really well. We've had about 2 weeks of pretty much torrential rain, so some plants loved that and others did not, but they're doing really well, so I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to pan around to show you the pumpkin. I actually am going to have to step back for this. So you'll know this is my, if you've been following along, this is my first time growing a pumpkin. And I had the idea that I would run it up this sort of structure that's around the kitchen garden bed. And I'm so pleased with that, by the way. But this pumpkin, it's a bit of a Jack and the Beanstalk situation. Every day, I feel like it just grows 20 centimeters every day. So you remember, it was a little itty bitty pumpkin that I planted, and so it's going around the post here, and this is the current state. So we're sort of going up and over. I'll need to rotate that around, but my plan is to kind of go up and then kind of keep rotating it around based on how big it gets. It's been very much an experiment, but one that I've loved. It's been such a delightful thing to have and watch grow. And, you know, every day I open my curtains and I look out and I just think, oh my goodness, as I said, it feels like it grows 20 centimeters a day. It's, yeah, wild. So I'll give you a quick close up because it has started to get all of its flowers, and you will sort of see here, it's got new shoots coming out. Again, I've never grown a pumpkin before, so I actually don't know. Do you just get one pumpkin per vine, or will you get multiple pumpkins per vine? I'm not sure. So once this vine gets big enough, I will actually sort of run it up along here. And there is also another vine coming out here, out the back. So I'll do the same thing and kind of just keep running it around. But you'll see I've got heaps. These are all pumpkin flowers. From what I can tell, and my Google research, they appear to be all male flowers. I don't have any of the female flowers yet. So you can see in here, and then up the top you can see all new shoots, and I'm getting like flowers. And what a fun experiment. I hope I get pumpkins out of it, but even if I don't, I won't be mad about it. It's, yeah. I think I paid $2 for the little seedling, and it's just been a lot of fun to watch it grow. You can see I've got more flowers here coming out. There's another one up here. And so when I was doing my research online, because as I said, I think all of these flowers are male flowers, they did say, which we might do together next week, that you can actually take off a number of the bottom leaves. And as you can see, some of the bottom leaves going a bit yucky anyway. So I think I might prune off some of these bottom leaves, and then it said to kind of just keep an eye out. And if needs be, you can actually pull off some of the male flowers, and that might encourage female flowers. So we shall see. Gosh, there's a number of flowers in there. You can see there's one there and one there. So anyway, we'll play it by ear and we'll see. Let me know if you've grown pumpkins. Is that what you did? Did you pull off any of the male flowers? Did you kind of just wait it out and see? I'm not sure. The strawberries that we planted together a few weeks back are also doing really well. Apologies, I'm blocking the light here. But I've got, can you see my very first, hopefully you can see that, my very first strawberries coming through. I've got flowers. There's more strawberries there coming through. More flowers. I do need to prune off some of these pumpkin leaves here because they are blocking the back strawberry plant. And it's just kind of stopping the sun. So we will try and do that as well. But yeah, I'm so excited about the strawberries. And see another little one there. So this front one is the sweet rose strawberry, and then there's another variety out the back here. But I don't believe, oops, that one has flowered as yet. So we shall see, but definitely quite the triumph. So I might be able to get some strawberries coming through. I will say, one thing that did not work and that was not happy with all the rain, you'll remember we actually planted kale seeds here. They started to come up, but unfortunately they did not make it. It was a lot of rain, like a lot of rain. So I might replant the kale seeds in this area. But these are all the beetroots that we planted, the seeds that we planted together. So these are seedlings we planted, but these are beetroot seeds. This row here and this row here. So they're doing so well. Very happy about that. Leaves are looking really healthy. Tomatoes are still doing well. I am surprised with the cold. They have flowered. You can see I've got flowers in a couple of places and little tomatoes starting. Can you, I don't know if I went too quick then. Can you see little baby tomatoes starting there? And I think there's another, oh yeah, yeah. Just in here. So I kind of just need to pull off just some of those yellowing leaves and probably top up the compost, I'd say. But yeah, I'm very surprised that with this cooler weather, they are still doing okay. The longevity spinach, absolutely loving it. You know, I got these as little baby cut sort of seedlings. They also have not loved the amount of rain. They're very much like a hot weather, sort of tropical crop. And I think it was, again, it was a ridiculous amount of rain. So I think they were a little bit unhappy about that, but they still look great. And I have actually been eating them. I've been eating the longevity spinach leaves. I will say it is a strong, like spinach doesn't have, to me, spinach doesn't really have much of a flavour, but they just sort of have a bit of a stronger flavour. But I've just been pulling them off and dicing them up small and popping them in salads. You could, you know, pop them in omelets, and I do my kind of frittatas and stuff in the morning, and they'd go great in those. It's not a incredibly strong taste. It's just, it's not the same, I suppose. And even the texture of the leaves isn't the same as normal spinach. But it grows in a subtropical climate, which is incredible, and it has incredible nutritional sort of benefits, and you know, it's full of all these good things. So very, very happy to have it in my garden, and I'm hoping that it's going to go really well throughout winter, and that it will have had a chance to really kind of bed in and become strong for the summer season, so that I will actually be able to get spinach throughout summer. Rosemary's doing great. The leeks we planted are doing good. The cucumbers, this one here has died. I need to pull that out. And this one's still kind of going, and hopefully you can kind of see in that corner there, I do have some cucumbers that I need to harvest. You can just see in there. But then I would say with the cold weather we're getting, that's probably going to be the last of the cucumbers, which is fine. As we get back to the end of, you know, late winter, early spring, I'll plant another crop of cucumbers. Garlic's still doing well. Spring onions always do well. Everything is looking great here. Should just pan around because I wanted to show you. Gosh, sunlight. Oh, the sun. This is the white crepe myrtle, and I just wanted to, oh, it's going to be very hard in this light. I just wanted to show you, you can see in here, her leaves are starting to go all golden. If I pan up, can you see? She's just, funnily enough, the red crepe myrtle changes colour first, and she also starts to bud up and bloom first. So the white crepe myrtle, you can start to see here, the leaves are just starting to go the golden colour, then they'll go that red, and they'll start to kind of drop off. She's looking. I'm not sure if you have noticed that just along this little bit of the path here, we've added some little kind of sandstone rocks just along the edges here, which I actually think looks really nice. The reason there's gaps there is because, as you can see, there's sort of little ground cover plants there. The reason for this is to help suppress the weeds, in a nutshell. But it's a very, very pretty addition, and I actually really like it here. It just adds something. There's a lot of this particular bed gets a fair amount of shade, which is fine, but that just basically, it kind of just means there's a lot of greenery in this bed. We've tried to add in, you know, some of the stripy whites here to give it a bit of color variation, but I think that the sort of sandstone rocks, maybe that's a better angle. I think it just adds, and we've got throughout the garden, we've sort of got the decorative large sandstone rocks. I think it all just ties together really nicely and just adds that sort of natural element while still giving it a bit of structure and a border. But very happy with that. That is a fairly new addition to the garden. Everything's looking great throughout here. Gosh, this here is a hydrangea. It's a lace I think it's like a lace cap hydrangea. I've never grown a hydrangea before, and it was a bit of an impulse purchase for inside the house. So it was in bloom and looked incredible, and so I purchased it to pop in a pot in the kitchen maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And then when the blooms sort of ended, like when its flowering season ended, you know, I didn't want to just throw it away because it was still a beautiful plant. So we thought we'll just trial it. And so it has actually been relocated a few times, you know, at the front of the property and in other bits, and it was not happy. And we ended up popping it in here. And it is, I don't know if you can see this, it's gotten huge. It's all the hydrangea there. It does flower. It flowers in, you would have seen if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, you will have seen this in flower. It flowers sort of a blue, a really pale sort of blue lilac-y colour, which is beautiful. But that is looking just, yeah, gosh. Now, the other big change that I wanted to show you is here. So, if you have been with me for a while, you will know that I used to have what I affectionately called the, just pausing for the birds, what I affectionately called the little red foxtail ground cover and it had the little fluffy red kind of like tail-like flowers on it, which is why I called it a foxtail. That was all throughout here, and I think I mentioned in quite a recent video, I just found it was really it was a very, very pretty ground cover, and I loved it. It was prolific, it covered all the ground, it suppressed the weeds, which is what I wanted it for. It looked really beautiful, but for this bed I found it to be quite aggressive, and it was just, you know, it would sort of grow up and it would grow up, and I think at one point here it was covering this pot completely. You can see here there's, if I sort of go around, a number of the plants have kind of suffered where it's kind of choked the plants, unfortunately. And so I just felt like all under here, this plant is normally quite a full plant, but because the foxtail was all through here, it kind of just choked out the leaf growth there. So it has all been pulled out. I mean, this pot is just gorgeous, by the way. You could never see it. It was just, apologies, the camera cut out there. But yeah, you could never see it because the red sort of foxtail just, it was high and would grow over things. So it's all come out and it's all looking a little bit bare. But I am thinking that these trailing violet ground cover will start to move this way now that the foxtail is out. I have actually bought another sort of 1 or 2 of these to place in here just to kind of fill this bed and get that ground cover and suppress the weeds. But I have just found with this one here, it's not as aggressive, it doesn't grow up and over, it very much stays low to the ground and just politely grows around, you know, the other plants that are here, which is brilliant. I've also bought a few plants, some new plants to pop in here, which we'll do together in a few weeks. But just to give you a close-up, so you can see here, see this little, you'll remember, see these little red flowers? That's the foxtail. So you can see, obviously, some of it's been missed, and it will be, but it'll take a while to get rid of it. But that's the foxtail flower there. But these are the little tiny trailing violet flowers. And I think they are so sweet. And it pretty much flowers, I don't know if I've ever seen this without flower. I think it just flowers all year round. And the leaves themselves are really pretty leaves. The flowers are so dainty and beautiful, the white and the purple. And so I think it is a great addition to any sort of garden if you're looking for a ground cover. Particularly, this is quite a shaded garden bed, so it does really well in that kind of condition. But yes, so very sad to see the little foxtails go, because I actually thought that they were very funny and quite sweet. But it was really just killing the other plants, unfortunately. So yeah, it always looks a bit sad like this when it's all bare dirt, but hopefully not for long. These grow quite quickly, so hopefully it'll kind of go through, and if I place maybe another one, I would say, in here somewhere, that'll eventually kind of spread out as well. And then I've got a few plants to place in here as well. So that will look brilliant. This is the climbing red spinach, you can see here, that we bought together 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Look at how much it has already grown. It was, I would say, down around here. So like all of this is all new growth. It's been munched on a little bit, unfortunately, but that happens in the garden. We're getting all new leaves and loving its position here. It is a climbing spinach. So I have placed this, I've got these two sort of structures, like steel kind of metal structures here, that I've just popped in to give it a bit of structure and a bit of support. So I'll see how it goes. At the moment, it is sitting up very proud and very happy in there. I haven't started to eat the leaves of this yet. I wanted to kind of give it a few, maybe like a month or so, you know, a month or two, just so that the plant could kind of stabilize in its new environment without me, you know, pulling off all the leaves and traumatizing it. But yeah, that's quite the triumph, and the leaves actually are quite nice. So they're quite a thick leaf, which I don't know how that's going to taste, but we shall see. I'm guessing the young leaves will be the nicer ones. And the other thing I wanted to just point out, from an attractive kind of aesthetics point of view, I don't know if you can see, they call it a red climbing spinach because, can you see the stem is red? Very different. I've never seen one of these before, and I've never grown one before, but it is apparently suited to the subtropical zones. So I'm hoping this is going to mean, this combined with the longevity spinach, I'm hoping it's going to mean I can get my greens all the way through summer with my hot weather that I have. Fingers crossed. So that's looking brilliant. The lemon, this is still doing really well. This is that pest control herb. Still going strong, doing its thing. The lemon balm, gosh, it is just taking forever. And I am very impatient. A part of me secretly regrets not buying the lemon balm seedlings that I saw at the garden centre a few weeks ago. I think I showed you when I was at the garden centre, and I sort of ummed and ahed about it, and I was like, no, just be patient. But my goodness, it has been like, I don't know, almost 2 months, I think, and look how tiny the little seedlings are. I don't know if they're just slow growing now because of the cold temperatures, or I may have to Google. But it is time for my triumph. These are the snack capsicum seeds. So I'm aware this video is getting incredibly long. I will try and be succinct here. We've actually planted snack capsicums seeds. So snack capsicums is this bush behind. This bush is about, or pretty much on point, 12 months old now. It has been producing snack capsicums for pretty much that entire 12 months. You can see here it is full of little capsicums now. They are a snack size capsicum. This is about as big as they grow. You can see there's more out the back there. There's a bunch in here. It is prolific. It has just been one of my favorite plants. It's produced so much fruit. It's been so easy, but I think it's just coming to the end of its life now that it's 12 months. But what I did, and you probably have seen, we did it together. I basically just took the seeds out of one, because I've never seen this plant again. I've never been able to buy another snack capsicum plant. So I actually was eating one of these and I took the seeds out of it. And the first attempt with this we did together. And so you'll remember I had, so you know inside a capsicum there's like the middle kind of core of the capsicum, and that's kind of where all the seeds are. I'd actually stored those in a glass container in the fridge until I was ready to plant them. None of those seeds came up. I think I actually told you that in maybe in the April garden tour video. Anyway, none of those seeds came up. And so I did a little bit more research about it, and I don't think the seeds liked being kept cold. I think that was my mistake. So I tried again and was eating one of the snack capsicums. And basically once I had, cut off the bits that I wanted, I came straight outside and just planted the seeds into the ground. And you all know inside a capsicum there are a large number of seeds, so thus all the little seedlings here, and that worked. So if you were trying to grow your own capsicums from seeds, do not store the seeds in the fridge like I did. They do not like that. But yeah, I just planted them straight into the ground. I will say it took a few weeks, probably maybe 2 weeks. I think it was a full, probably 14-day germination time. But they have started to come up, which is incredible. I'm so happy. I've got quite a few that have come up. As you all know with seeds, I'm sure if you're a gardener out there, not all of these seeds are going to make it, which is why I planted so many. If all of them in some weird twist do make it, I will gift them to people. But I'm kind of just letting them grow and see if I can get them to sort of, get to decent sizes before I sort of start to separate them out. I am a little bit concerned about the cold weather. I googled it and they did say that you can grow them in a subtropical climate throughout winter. So I think it's going to be a wait and see, unfortunately. I will, with the snack capsicums that I've got on the plant over there, I will try and store some of them, not in the fridge obviously, but I'll just store some in like an envelope or something for spring, in the hope that they don't mind being kept for a few months. But that is my utter triumph. And let me tell you, when I saw these seeds coming up, I'm pretty sure I squealed. I'm like on the phone, I'm ringing my mum, I'm like, they came up, oh my God. Yeah, I was very, very happy because that snack capsicum plant has been incredible, absolutely incredible. But yeah, so my little seedlings, so happy. Oh, I hope they make it. I hope they make it through winter. If you have any tips at all about getting your capsicums through winter in a subtropical climate, please let me know. I don't have a greenhouse structure or anything like that. I've not ever needed it before, but I don't know, did you cover them? Did you put a bucket over them or something? Let me know in the comments anyway, if you've got any tips. Goodness, helicopter is going overhead on such a gorgeous day. Gosh, would you look at the perfection of this rose? I just think, God, flowers are just such a work of art. Like, look at that. The architecture of that is stunning. Okay, my camera battery is flashing, and on the triumphant note of the snack capsicum germination of seeds, I might actually end this garden tour here. I do think it is a long video. I hope you had a cup of tea or a coffee and that you have enjoyed having a morning stroll and kind of just having a bit of a chat, a bit of a catch up, me telling you what's been going on in the garden. Oh, definitely. Now that the rain seems to have finally passed, I'll definitely be doing some more gardening content with you. But I do hope you have been liking some of the other videos, like some of the organization or clothing videos or shopping videos. Yeah, I hope you've been liking the variety. All right, I'm not going to waffle on any further. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've loved having this little walk around the garden with you and just, chatting through everything. Thank you as always for spending the time with me. If you have loved this video and you love this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. It would mean the absolute world to me.